COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut. He cut it.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakunjahade, which means distant thunder. My colonized name is Robert Pilot, and taxpayer name is Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss national and Twin City Native American news and events, and as we all know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. You can call them at 651-304-9986, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. with your COVID-19 questions.
I got these buttons here, and I just want to try, and this one is like, thank you, Wendy. Applause for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And one day left, Robert.
One day left until we get vaccinated.
Our second vaccine. I'm really excited.
Yeah. Shout out to Ho Chunk Nation.
I've been working out really hard with weights today, so my arms hurt really bad, so I won't be able to tell the difference between the COVID-19 shot and my muscle ache from working out.
Oh.
That's brilliant, Wendy.
That's what I did all day.
Wow, I wish you would have told me about that. I would, never mind. Guess I wouldn't have been working out. But hey, so what else is going on? We have like torrential rain. We got 2 inches here in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nice, rainy, kind of cozy, chilly day just to stay in. Did a lot of house chores and things like that.
Awesome. So, hey, why don't we get to Ogama with the news and see what's happening all over Turtle Island? Welcome, Ogama.
Hey, Anim Bijou, everybody. As always, I'm happy to be here. I'm going to start with some upcoming events for Stop Line 3 this Friday at 11 a.m. Until 5 p.m. The Cheyenne River Grassroots Collective is visiting Line 3, and that is going to be at the White Earth Camp, which is known as Wild Rice Protection Camp. They will be having a water ceremony, a statement of solidarity, and a tour of the things that they hold precious, including a maple sugar camp and wild rice bed. That's going to be really exciting to get that synergy going between the Standing Rock runners and the No Dapple groups and get them involved to help us stop Line 3 over here. Also coming up next Friday, March 26th from 11 to 12:30 is the Midwest Mobilize to Stop Lines 3 and 5. So we're all pretty familiar with Line 3 in Minnesota, but Enbridge is also after another part of the upper Midwest here, or I guess upper Mideast. Is that would be what Michigan is? I'm not sure. But Line 5 is operating currently under the Straits of Mackinac in Michigan, and the governor of Michigan had ordered Enbridge to shut it down, and Enbridge basically said no. So that is going to be an online event happening Friday, March 26th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Central Time. It is a Zoom event, so make sure you RSVP. And then from there, they're going to go Facebook Live. There's going to be a lot of really good music. Annie Humphrey is going to be there, so I'm pretty excited for that. Captions will be provided, and then if you check out the Midwest Mobilize to Stop Lines 3 and 5, you can find the Zoom link to pre-register. This coming Saturday from 10 to 12 Central Time is the March to Stop Line 3 in Duluth, Minnesota. They will be meeting at the Endion Station or Lake Walk area, which is near Canal Park Brewing Company, for a rally and march to raise awareness about Line 3 and stand in solidarity with the Anishinaabe and all Indigenous people on the front lines across northern Minnesota. They will be marching from the Lake Walk to Wells Fargo, which, as we all know, is a bank that funds Line 3 and fossil fuel projects. They encourage people to bring arts and signs to carry. Social distancing and masks are required. Tomorrow at 7:30 until 8:30 is the Line 3 Calls to Action hosted by MN350. That one is a bi-weekly call to get an update on the status of Line 3 and upcoming opportunities to get involved. You can sign up for the Zoom link to join at mn350.org. Also by mn350.org coming up this Sunday is the ABCs of Line 3. That one is also a Zoom meeting, but that one's going to be covering the history and the impact of the pipeline on the water and the land. Again, you can register for the Zoom link at mn350.org. And then coming up on Tuesday, March 30th, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. is going to be Stronger Together to Stop Line 3 and DAPL, DC Bound. So what's happening is those youth, the indigenous youth from the front lines of the DAPL movement are going to DC again, and on the way they are going to be acquiring other youth who are working with the Stop Line 3 movement, and they are going to speak to everybody on en route to DC to share their history of Indigenous people standing up for their traditions and caring for land and water. So again, that's Tuesday evening, March 30th, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. It is going to be a Zoom event, so make sure you check out MN350 and the Sierra Club North Star chapter to figure out how to get the link for that. So that's about all I have for upcoming events in the Stop Line 3 and other stopping pipeline world. I want to touch base on something today. So we know that the anniversary of the Grand Rapids spill just happened here in late February, early March. But now it is the anniversary of the Exxon Valdez spill. Do you guys remember the Exxon Valdez spill?
Can't forget it.
How
Yep.
could we forget all the animals with oil all over them? And
Oh, it was awful.
it's terrible.
Absolutely awful. So, I came across, I got this article and it was by Greg Palast or Palast. I'm not sure how to say it. And he wrote an article for The Guardian UK back in like 1999, talking about an investigation that he did about the Exxon Valdez disaster. And he's telling everybody not to believe the story of the drunken captain. So basically, the oil spill from the Exxon Valdez did involve the fact that the captain, Joe Hazelwood, was below deck sleeping off basically what was a bender. But the third mate who collided with, it's called Bligh Reef, which is what ran the tanker aground and caused the leak, should have been able to look at a RACOS radar, which would have informed him that they were too shallow. However, the radar was left broken and disabled for more than a year before the disaster, and the Exxon management knew it. And basically what had happened, the reason that the native people even agreed to let Exxon into the Valdez Narrows was because Exxon was going to have this state-of-the-art equipment on board to ensure that that spill was not going to happen, and Exxon did not keep their end of the promise. So, the danger of the fable of the drunken captain is that it serves the oil industry. It presents it presents an environmental disaster that was in America as a huge tale of human frailty, and that it was some sort of one-time incident is what Greg Palast says. But there was in fact a broken radar, missing equipment, and a whole bunch of fake tests and other things that had happened that he discovered during his investigation of this. So it basically made the spill inevitable and not an accident. And you can read the entire story, the full untold story. He put it in a book. It's called Vulture's Picnic. Or you can check out The Guardian UK or gregpalast.com for more information on it. But I was just kind of blown away. I did not know that or have any idea, but I can't honestly say I'm that surprised. How about you guys?
Not surprised at all. Absolutely. And the wildlife that was killed during that, it was just unbelievable. Loss estimates includes 250,000 seabirds, 2,800 sea otters, 300 harbor seals, 250 bald eagles, up to 22 killer whales, and billions of salmon and herring eggs were lost during that spill.
Yeah, that's terrible. I don't think we'll ever get over that one. I want to touch on one more thing. I hear the music coming up. Unicorn Riot is facing a subpoena for all of its documents collected during their reporting on the No DAPL protest. They're being sued by Energy Transfer LP. Make sure to go to Unicorn Riot to help support them so they can get legal representation for this, guys.
Yeah, we might have to bring that up again
at
the end of the show too. That's we support Unicorn Riot big time, and for all they do, but everywhere they go, they stream live, and you really know what's going on. It's unedited. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Vakun Jahade. Up next, Robert Blake with Solar Bear News. The University of Minnesota Duluth Department of American Indian Studies is accepting applications for the Master of Tribal Resource and Environmental Stewardship. With this degree, you'll develop the skills to help tribal governments manage natural resources and navigate the legal, cultural, and political contours of tribal sovereignty. And you can take all the courses online. To apply for the fall 2021 Masters of Tribal Resources and Environmental Stewardship at Minnesota Duluth, visit umdmtrees.org. That's umdmtres.org.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
We have vital information we would like to share with you. The Department of Indian Works St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm awake.
We are the Aleutian Nation.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. You can call them at 651-304-9986, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. with your COVID-19 questions.
Yeah, hey, I got to send Robert Blake the logo or the link to get on. So why don't we
do that? Hey, Ogama, can you tell us about the Unicorn Riot and give our listening audience that information again?
Yes, so Unicorn Riot is an independent journalism group that has been our go-to for a lot of live feed and information all the way back to the No DAPL protests and following up even up into last year for George Floyd and currently. What is happening now is that Unicorn Riot is facing a subpoena for all of its documents collected during their reporting on the No DAPL protest. Energy Transfer LP, who is the company behind the Dakota Access Pipeline, or DAPL, is suing Indigenous activists and others associated with the No DAPL protests and taking legal steps to attempt to force them to give footage and documents. Unicorn Riot's website and their fundraising regarding this says that they take seriously their obligation to protect their sources and will not bend to request for their footage or records from either the government or private corporations. They are acting quickly to respond to the subpoena and are raising $4,000 for their legal defense. Unicorn Riot was served a copy of the subpoena on March 17th, and they are working to secure a First Amendment lawyer and expect to pay retainers for their work. They can't really predict the cost of their legal bills, but are committed fully to fighting the subpoena. I will put the link to this fundraiser in the chat here, in the comments here. We really respect and support Unicorn Riot and all the work that they've been doing as an independent media source, and I believe they do run primarily on donations. So if you've tuned into Unicorn Riot and you got a couple of bucks, it goes a long way when a lot of people do it. So make sure you send some support over.
They were, during the riots in Minneapolis, they were 24/7. They were at Standing Rock. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you see some of the footage that Unicorn Riot and Lorenzo worked with them, we were getting updates live.
Live minute-by-minute updates of what was actually happening.
Yeah. So we support the heck out of them. Mm-hmm. And
they go all over the United States, don't they? Or are they just Minnesota?
No, they go all over the United States. Yeah. I mean,
fantastic.
It's a really good, really good organization. And one of the things too, we should just talk about while we're waiting for Robert to come on, is that, these operations like Unicorn Riot, I know we've had Emma on too that was out there shooting, and I've seen she's in Washington, D.C. and all over. These people aren't working for corporate media. They're they're really putting their lives on
the line. Yeah, I mean, they could get arrested, they can get killed. They're right in the line of fire. Actually, when they were down, in Minneapolis during the uprising of after George Floyd was murdered, it was just unbelievable. The footage that was on social media that you could just watch as it was actually happening. So, yeah.
Yep. So I just put the link up there. It's at donorbox.org. So if you go over to DonorBox and you're not able to get all the dashes and everything in there, you should be able to search Unicorn Riot No DAPL Legal Defense, and that should pull it up.
That's great. Can that also go on our Facebook page for people who follow us on Facebook? Excellent.
Yes, absolutely. I will put it there as well. Like I said, we do have some major respect for Unicorn Riot. We hope they're able to keep their sources safe.
So, these organizations, I don't want to say organizations, these businesses, they really go after the news. Mm-hmm. They go after the news.
Well, I'm sure they have pretty good footage that they want that can be very damaging. So
Exactly. And that's just it.
they're
They
not,
need to
wasting their money also bringing them to court and suing them because they don't have something good on them. It looks like Robert Blake. Oh, hey, he's here. Let's do it.
Hey, what's going on, Robert?
Hey, how's it going, everyone? How you doing? Hey, Robert.
You sound great, by the way.
Check it out.
You got me a Solar Bear hat.
I do. I got everyone. I need your guys' sizes, by the way, because I'm going to put in the order for the sweatshirts.
Awesome.
Wow.
We'll let you know. Not on the air, though.
Yeah, I'm going to need your sizes, everyone.
Yeah.
Wow,
I got you.
Cool.
Why not
I got you a hat, Robert.
Then other people can get free swag.
Yeah. Robert, when you signed in and you were in the little box when people couldn't see you, the lighting looked like you had like tinfoil, like one of those tinfoil helmets on, like when when you're trying to reach Martians or something. But now that you're
Wendy with the joke.
Now that you're on
I
the
thought
big
I was the one that's supposed to be funny.
I'm the one in the family. Forget it, Robert.
Oh, geez.
But now that you're on the big screen, I can see it, and it doesn't look like you're looking for Martians.
I love that hat. That's so cool. Is it a mesh hat too? Is it like a 70s hat? Like an old mesh hat? Let me see. Turn to your left.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's Solar Bear. What else does it say on there?
Oh, nice.
That's nice.
Then my hair can breathe
it's a baseball
because
hat for those who are listening and can't see.
it's an old trucker's baseball cap from the 70s style, and it can breathe, so my Rogaine will be working overtime with the. Yep, there it is. Awesome.
Nice.
So we have the solar news with Solar Bear right now, and it's awesome that we're going to stretch you out a couple segments. Oh, what? Whoa! Did you see that? Look at
what kind of hat is that?
That's got a tassel to it. It's a stocking cap.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Wow. And the t-shirts too. I can't wait for those. Is light blue your color?
Yeah. So wait till you see the sweatshirts. They're going to be you're going to love your sweatshirt, by the way.
Was you going to say key grip or best boy on it? I'll be your key grip or best boy.
Yeah, it's going to see key grip, best boy.
Cool. Hey, so what kind of news
What kind of
news do you have there, Robert?
So I wanted to talk about it. So there is a new study that just came out, right? That talks about we need to get to 1.5 degrees Celsius, right? By 2050 to avoid climate catastrophe. And this is something that's been talked about by scientists and whatnot, right? In order to get to that, right, we need to deploy 14 terawatts of renewable energy around the world. Okay? To put this in perspective, Robert, we are using 17 terawatts of energy right now. So that includes oil, nuclear energy, all the fossil fuels you can think of, right? Including renewables, right? So we are currently using 17 terawatts. We need to get to 14 terawatts to avoid what climate scientists say would be like no coming back, right? No. Here's what I'm saying. We can do this. We could totally do this, right? So I want to explain to everybody that's listening right now, think about the size of like Rhode Island or something. That's really what we have to do. We have to put that much solar out there, right? To cover Rhode Island, so to speak. And that's about 14 terawatts of solar. I mean, this can happen if we do it all across the world, right? So here's the other thing to put in perspective. There are 100,000 terawatts of energy that hit the world every day. Every day, 100,000 terawatts hit the world every day of free energy from the sun. Wow. So we only need 14, Robert. And so, I mean, think about that. It's worth saving the planet. It's worth saving humanity. It's worth saving like life. I mean, 14 terawatts really, when it comes right down to it, is really nothing. And this is totally achievable.
And I like your thinking, and being a Native American business and a Native American person, we're always thinking 7 generations ahead, and we really need to get busy on this. And this news is very doable, Robert.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important, Robert, that we get the right politicians. Like, we have to vote. Like, we need more Native politicians. We need more Deb Hollands. Like, I'm saying Ogama for state senate. You know what I mean? Like, honest. Like, we need young, talented, Native women and men, running for public office. I mean, but that are going to do the right thing by the environment, by the planet, and by the community as a whole. So I mean, really, Robert, this is just the way to go, and we could totally do this. That's what I want to get through to everybody tonight, is that 14 terawatts is totally doable, and so it's in our grasp. We could do this.
Wow, let's talk more in next segment. That's exciting news, Robert. We got Robert Blake with Solar Bear News, and we're really the solar news with Solar Bear, and we love this segment every Wednesday. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us. If you're hurting in your relationship or have been affected by sexual violence, you're not alone. Strong Hearts Native Helpline can help you through these difficult and uncertain times. Strong Hearts Helpline is a free 24/7 confidential domestic dating and sexual violence helpline for Native Americans. Help is available by calling 1-844-762-8483 or by clicking on the Chat Now icon on strongheartshelpline.org. This message is sponsored by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. The Army National Guard has taught me the value of showing respect to those I come in contact with each day. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed and accomplish the mission. Plus, the Army National Guard education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Army National Guard, aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
The University of Minnesota Duluth Department of American Indian Studies is accepting applications for their Master of Tribal Administration and Governance. This degree is designed to develop the knowledge needed to work as an administrator in tribal government. Plus, you'll learn about the principles of sovereignty, ethics, law, budgets, and leadership. And you can take all the courses online. To apply for the fall 2021 Master of Tribal Administration and Governance at Minnesota Duluth, visit umdmtag.org. That's umdmtag.org.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon, Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hi, Minnesota. Make sure you tune into my program, the Tom Hartman Program, every weekday from 11 to 2 right here on AM 950. Smart radio for smart people.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies overnight with a low around 33. Thursday sunny with a high near 52. Friday sunny with a high near 53. And Saturday a chance for rain with a high around 54.
Fire up Minnesota with a smoking hot deal on a new gas, charcoal, or pellet grill from Warner Stellian. You still get free assembly, free delivery, and 18 months no interest financing. Get your new grill from the specialists. Minnesota's own Warner Stellian.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Wow, we are getting a little commercial here with Bob, Robert Blake's Solar Bear swag. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, there's some really cool stuff there. There's a helmet, too.
Well, that vest that you have, that bright yellow one, I'd like one of those for when I'm walking the dogs at night.
Yeah, exactly. There it is.
Awesome.
Wow, that's a nice size logo, too. That would look good on one of my jean jackets, too. Wow, cool. Bob, unmute yourself and come back to the show here. We're with Robert Blake, and this is the Solar News with Solar Bear, and we're really excited to touch base with Robert each week. Wow, you got a lot of swag there.
He's going to open up a store.
Right on.
the people who do all this for me, they're like this is you. They're like, you should come up with a line for this stuff because they're just like, hey, they're like, I think this stuff will sell really good, and that's what the Liz was telling me. She was like, I really like doing this stuff with you, Robert. So it's funny, yeah. But yeah,
where you got that done, and check them out. Do you want to give a shout out? Who did that?
Yeah, fully promoted out in Roseville, Minnesota. Are the ones that you can order Solar Bear swag from. They'll send it to you too. So like, if you want a baseball hat like this has got the new Era logo on it, right? You can order it from them. They've got the helmets, they've got the sweatshirts, the shirts, everything. But I'm going to be sending you guys. I'm going to go pick up your sweatshirts and I'll take your order. But like they'll get all the stuff for you. So you just have to call them. And I would talk to Liz, and they have a native brother over there, Levi Brown, who's from Cheyenne River, I think, is working there. Cool. And he's the one that does all my graphics and everything. So that's kind of why I want to go there too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, that's exciting. So, Robert, always great to have you on. I know we have a couple more stories that you want to touch base with. Can you tell us what's on your mind?
Yeah. So the next story is, and this is the one that I kind of wanted to like highlight tonight too, was Volkswagen, right? And I think, and what you're going to see, Robert, is you're going to see everybody doing this in the future. You're going to see car companies doing this in the future. And what's happening is Volkswagen is basically going to turn their vehicles into mobile power banks. So they're getting heavily into the electric vehicle market, okay? But what they're going to do is they're going to turn their vehicles into basically power banks for your home at night. So you're going to be able to essentially almost run your home off of your car vehicle in the evening. that's going to put is going to be like your backup power system. So this is what they're currently working on, and I think it's really exciting because along with solar and renewable energy, and the with the with the batteries, I mean, you're literally going to be able to run your car and your home all off the sun, and your car is going to be like one of your battery backups. I mean, this blows my mind when I think about this, and I just think about how far technology is coming. And these batteries are getting so smart, Robert. These batteries are getting so smart that it's like they're going to be able to charge off 25% to your home, 25% will go to like back to the grid, 25% will go to like because there's going to be little computers on these batteries, and that's what they're doing right now. And it's remarkable how incredible this technology is going. So this is a really cool thing that Volkswagen is doing right now. And I think it's really exciting too.
That was astonishing. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, pulling up to the house. Okay, honey, let's plug the house into the car.
Right, and turn on the air conditioning.
And then
because
before
it's
I go to
warm
bed,
out.
that would be another thing that I obsess about. Honey, did you plug the house into the car? Did you set the alarm? Did you lock the door? Is the oven shut off?
Then I have to get up, Bob, and make sure that the car's plugged in the house.
Yeah. So and here's what's going to happen around 4 a.m. Your car is going to go back into charging mode, right? So you'll have your car charged up for you right when you go to work in the morning, so you can make it to work. So I mean, it's just incredible what technology is doing right now, and it's just so exciting too. The next story that I want to talk about is transparent solar cells that are in these greenhouses, right? And they're also going to be in skyscrapers. So imagine the IDS, right? Full of like transparent solar panels there, right? Where you can look out, but what those windows are going to be doing is they're going to be producing electrons, right? They're going to be producing energy. And this is currently what's happening right now with the glass industry. The glass industry is like going to be like apartment buildings are going to have eventually your windows are going to be solar power driven. And so I think that this is really cool because greenhouses and other buildings such as skyscrapers, apartment buildings, homes. Think about everywhere where we have glass, right? Where we use it. I mean, this is actually happening right now too, Robert. So this is really exciting that they're finding all this other ways to capture the sun's energy and use this as power. And this is just going to create a lot of jobs. This is going to be a bunch of jobs, Robert. And I mean, just think of all the people that we're going to be able to, employ from this. So that's pretty exciting. My last story. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to ask. So we have to get these big companies to come along, like Volkswagen, like Xcel Energy, like the oil companies, to switch over to really make this shift happen. And plus, what you said earlier today, we need to vet out our politicians big time.
Well, yeah, absolutely, Robert. And think about that, right? Like we have the power, we have the purchasing power, so it's all of us. Like the corporations will do what we want them to do because they need our dollars, right? So power is in our in the way that we spend our money. So if we're asking these corporations for good corporate responsibility to the planet, to the environment, to the community, then we're going to require them to have a green, have a energy environment focus in their corporate values and their statements, right? So I want everyone to know that's important.
Yeah, it is very important. And we wouldn't be if it wasn't for the murder of George Floyd and the companies putting pressure on the Washington team, they would still be called the Redskins.
Absolutely.
So you're absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just recently contacted by a colleague that I work with in this industry, and Target has approached them and said, "Hey, can you reach out to Solar Bear too?" And they're talking about putting solar on 9 of their stores, and they've already got renewable energy on some of their Target stores. The Target store on University Avenue has got solar. So, I think that's really cool that they're lining up these targets to put solar on. And so I don't know, I'm excited that a lot of these corporations are saying we want to be able to have, a green footprint. And also too, Robert, they're buying RECs, renewable energy credits. So,
Wow.
that's turning into a really, really huge market. Those RECs are being traded, and the more valuable they are, the more price that they'll fetch on the market. So, tribal nations, please get those RECs really high. You know what I mean? Because people are going to want to buy and support renewable energy projects, especially on tribal nations. And so, I see a big market in the future for RECs coming from tribes.
That's awesome. And I also see, if you're working with Target, that we could get Solar Bear swag there too.
I think that would be so cool. I mean, why not? I mean, I'm all about it. So hey, I got my last story here, right? And this is on space, okay? There are solar panels in space that could beam down continuous energy. So what's happening is NASA is flirting with the idea of installing these they already have solar panels on the space station, right? But they want to be able to have where they can continuously beam down energy. And so I just thought that was an incredible story that we're going to have astronauts becoming solar installers. I just think that's so cool.
That's awesome.
Solar Bear.
That is awesome. Yeah.
The Solar Bear Space Force installer. I mean, I can maybe get.
I'd like one of those T-shirts too, please.
Can you make their spacesuits look like bears, please? You have to. You got to do that for me, okay?
That would be so awesome to have a Solar Bear Space Force installer crew.
That's awesome. So what? We only got a minute and a half here left. What are you working on right now? Specifically, you were up there in Red Lake dealing with that.
Yeah.
What else are you doing?
Yep, we start in 2 weeks, so we're going to be back up there installing in 2 weeks. So I'll be back up there, plugging solar panels again, putting the guys. We'll be working again, and then I've got a lot of stuff working right now that we're going to be doing a lot of outreach in Red Lake. We're just starting with Red Lake now, but I want to get out into the other tribes here in the state of Minnesota, working with the CUB Citizens Utility Board, and we're going to be doing some education and training around. Your bills and electricity and stuff like that. And so I'm really excited to really get the community up in Red Lake, kind of knowledgeable about all this. And then I want to jump to like White Earth and Leech Lake and, Boise Fort and all the other tribes and get this. So everybody just has this knowledge around how do I deal with the co-op? How do I deal with Excel, or how do I deal with, community power? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
And we're going to drag you down to Black River Falls, Wisconsin, and talk to our tribe too, because we all got to get on the solar bandwagon.
Yeah, you guys got another casino. I saw you guys are getting another casino.
Yeah, in Beloit. Yeah, definitely. So
yeah, let's get solar on that thing, Robert.
That's right. Get it on immediately, right on. So hey, Robert Blake from Solar Bear. And also Robert Blake from Red Lake. He's the same person, and we love having him on. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and Peeny Gigi Robert for being on, and we'll be right back.
Stay with us.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
We have vital information we would like to share with you. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
We are the Aleutian Nation.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Oh.
That was a baby pup. Is it tomorrow or next week that we're having Maureen Hackett? She's the president and CEO, Dr. Maureen Hackett. She is the president and CEO of Howling for Wolves. So she's going to be on soon. We don't know
Friday.
Exactly what day, but
I think
yeah.
Friday.
Okay, maybe Friday.
During your segment.
Awesome. I can't wait. I love Maureen. She's fantastic. She's done so much for wolves here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's really fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a
We
really
talked to her a
awesome
little bit on the phone today.
organization. Yeah.
And it was like what she spit out. It's just like, oh my goodness, let's get on the radio and talk.
Yeah, Howling for Wolves is also having like a big Zoom meeting with the legislator. I'm going to guess, I think it's April. It's either the 19th or the 22nd, but you could go on their website to check it out if you want to join in. I'll be on.
Yeah.
Are you going to introduce me or should I introduce myself?
Well, I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy. Wendy has been an animal advocate for many, many, many years. And she works tirelessly on animal issues. And this is our Sacred Animal segment. Wendy, tell us your name and what organization you were spotting with today.
Thank you. My name is Hanaji Hihani, and that means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega, Curtis. So as always, Curtis, thank you very much.
Just talked to Curtis today.
Awesome. I am a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level.
Didn't I say that?
Oh, did you? I'm sorry.
Well, I'll have to listen to the tapes. You weren't listening to me.
That's how we're married. I get messages from people all over, like through Facebook Messenger, like things that's important or animal issues that they're concerned about, and then they want me to talk about it on the radio. So I always like good articles, or if you're really feel that a certain subject is important to you, you could send them to me or send them to our email, Native Roots, right? We have an email, Native Roots Radio.
Yeah, AM950
or
Native
on our
Roots
Facebook page. I don't know. There's lots of ways to get in touch with us.
AM950 NativeRootsRadio.com.
Yeah. Well, James, he sent me.
Give him a shout out.
Yeah. Thank you, James. I really appreciate it. He sends me a lot of updates and news articles. And just today, he sent me an article that I'm going to talk about, and it's dated today. So this is fresh off the press. American Wild Horse Campaign. This is written today by Mary Consul, March 24th, 2021. And here we go. Despite a management plan that is almost 50 years and ongoing concerns about genetic diversity of this historic herd, the Theodore Roosevelt National Park has begun removal of wild horses from North Dakota's only wild horse herd. Located in western North Dakota, the Theodore Roosevelt National Park comprised about of 70,000 acres, including the dramatic Badlands. I want to go there someday, Robert. Excuse me, I just have to clear my voice. With no previous public notice, what they did was they announced on Monday, March 22nd, that it will immediately begin capturing up to 10 horses from the herd, which is estimated to be around 170 horses, using chemical immobilization techniques. And what this is that these people in the helicopters have shotguns with darts filled with different drugs. And these drugs can work in two different ways. One of the ways is that they shoot the horse. Meanwhile, I just want you to know that the helicopters are flying really, really low. These horses are running. They're scared. They're terrified. And the person shoots the horse with the drugs. And sometimes what it can do is just cause or produce a widespread muscular paralysis. And this is while the animal is fully conscious. So they just fall to the ground and they can't move, but they're fully conscious. Or what it can do is it can also produce unconsciousness, something like an anesthesia effect. So the horse will just, like when you go into surgery, right? You have anesthesia and that's how it feels. But it's really, really hard on these animals. At least 3 horses have already been removed, and it is not clear if more roundups are planned for this year. Of particular note is that March is the beginning of foaling season. According to local advocates, in the last few weeks, 7 fowls have been born. 2 did not survive because of this horrible roundup that they're doing. Because the Theodore Roosevelt wild horses are not managed by the Bureau of Land Management, BLM, they are not protected by the 1971 Wild Horse and Burro Act, even though the Theodore Roosevelt National Park is part of the U.S. Department of the Interior. This surprise removal is just one more alarm bell about the Theodore Roosevelt National Park's transparency on the ground management of horses and disposition of the captured horses. So what's happening right now is their groups are frantically working on where they're going to get where they want these horses that are captured, right? They want the horses to go to a humane place, a home, somebody to adopt them, or a ranch where they could live. But who's hovering over these horses are kill buyers. So these kill buyers are people who buy the horses, who can sell the horse meat per dollar per pound to kill buyers to be slaughtered in places like Canada and Mexico. And this organization, the Theodore Roosevelt National Park, has been not transparent about anything. People have been calling them and emailing them and trying to get in touch with them, and they're not answering their phones, and they just want these horses. Most of the time, there's 2 reasons why they want to get rid of the horses. One is because there's too many horses and they're wreaking havoc on the ecosystem. And number 2 is for ranchers, so that ranchers could bring in cattle. I could not find any reason why they didn't say why they are removing the horses. So we don't know that from this particular article. So we have to find out more research on that.
Could be a lot of them.
I'm just, really afraid. And these, like I said, these groups, advocacy groups are frantically trying to make sure that these horses are brought to a humane place.
Yeah, definitely.
But most of the time they're not, unfortunately.
Peony Gigi for that update.
Thank you. And thank you to James for sending it to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, so maybe I can bring Ogama on one more time just to give Unicorn Riot a quick shout out.
Absolutely.
Ogama.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Unicorn Riot, and also shout out to you, James, as well. We appreciate you over here. Unicorn Riot, again, is facing a subpoena for all of its documents collected during their reporting on the No Dabble protest. They are looking to raise at least $4,000 for a retainer to get a civil rights lawyer to help them take on this case against Energy Transfer LP, which is the company behind the Dakota Access Pipeline, who's basically suing them in an attempt to force them to give their footage and documents over. There's going to be a lot of things that make them look bad, so make sure you go over to donorbox.org and look for Unicorn Riot No Dabble Legal Defense to donate to them.
Pinagigi, hey, I would like to end with these thoughts. If you're listening to this show, you are the resistance. From Chief Plentycoops, the ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office. You've been listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I've been your host, Robert Pilot. The revolution is kicking into high gear, and I'd like to thank Bob Blake for coming on, Wendy Pilot for her insight, and Ogama with the news. If you are listening to this show, you are the resistance. We're still here. We are the seventh generation. Stop line 3.
Free Leonard Peltier.
When you're trying to stay safe, you want the best protection possible. And when it comes to PPE, that means Lutema.